And now, it's Ed Fields Live with your host, Ed Fields, and co-host Rogan Smith.
Did you? Yes or no? Did you? You saw the text? We're on the air, but did you see that particular message I sent you?
We're on the
Yeah, we're on the air.
Are we on the air?
Yeah, we're on the air. You saw that?
Said that. Yes, I saw it and I ignored it.
Okay. Yeah, well, you ignore me on a regular basis, so I'm not.
I responded to other stuff.
But you ignore me on.
Right.
Oh,
Okay.
while
Go ahead.
the young man is here, can you make sure the sound in that room is on? Because we never know how to turn it on. You know how to turn that on?
Yeah.
We know. And then you can teach Osprey because he doesn't know how to turn it on either. But just turn it on so that when we put our guests in the in there, they can hear. Yeah.
Okay, no problem.
I appreciate it, man.
That's
Yeah.
cool. Awesome.
Yeah. We free. We just
Boy.
what's the matter, hon?
It's a casual.
Cash.
Boy, real casual. Right here.
I like to refer to it as
Real?
casual, but yet formal at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It can be both things.
Yeah. And then we have
Oh, Jesus! Now that was loud.
No, Jesus, that was.
Oh,
Yeah, turn it down.
I don't- Is that?
Yeah, that's
near
good.
on
Yeah,
the
that's
road?
good. That's good. We good. Yeah. Technical. Having said that, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Ed Fields, along with co-host Rogan
Yeah.
Smith, and on the board, the engineering side, complete with earrings,
I love
is
him.
Osprey.
That's
Okay.
my boy.
Yeah.
You know, like with Osprey will jump in the conversation.
Pardon? Oh yeah. Well, it isn't that he jumps in the conversation. Our regular guy is just mute. It hasn't anything to do with him jumping. Okay.
No, you know what I mean, but like
No, he's normal.
Kendrick will give
Yeah,
the
no,
thumbs up.
he's normal.
That's it.
Osprey is like in a normal world.
Kendrick is the abnormal one.
Yeah, Kendrick is like he doesn't speak.
That's Kendrick's thing, though.
Yeah. So anyway, we're here on this Thursday. Our guests today are going to be Ramona Ferguson Seymour.
Farquharson
Sorry,
Seymour.
Farquharson.
She's been here.
I love the name Farquharson, by the way.
Why?
It's just one of those names that you don't hear anywhere else except the Bahamas.
No, man. In Britain.
Well, I've never heard it in Britain.
Yeah, I've heard.
I think it's actually more
BBC.
Français, huh?
No, man.
Farquhar.
Well, I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
But
The bottom line, you've heard it in Britain?
On BBC. They've interviewed people with Farquharson.
I've never heard Farquharson in Britain, but I could see where it could do that. But I love that word because it's atypical of how we can abbreviate words, because that's the word that immediately goes to Farky. Okay.
Most names can be abbreviated.
No, but this one is the best. The
You just like-
Farky.
you just like
Yeah.
Farky more than anything.
And you become Farky. You see what I'm saying? Like whatever your name is, it doesn't matter if your name is Rogan or Osprey. Like Osprey, what's your last name?
Joseph, eh?
Joseph. Well, that's
Joseph,
right.
right?
No, it's something Joseph.
Oh,
it's
no,
two
Joey,
first names.
It's Joey. Osprey's his son's name. It's Joey. Jeez.
Yeah, it's
Edwards. I
Edwards.
remember that one.
Yeah, he has two first names. So his last
you
name,
said
for
it the
instance,
last
right?
time, yeah.
His last name, which is Edwards, you don't go around going, "Hey, Eddie,"
Yeah.
as a last name. Now we could call you Smitty.
I so hate that.
What about
Because
Smits?
it's
Smythe?
Smitty. You know.
Yeah.
Ugh.
it's like
hate that.
it's filthy. It sounds filthy. It
Smitty?
sounds
It sounds spitty.
unhygienic.
Sounds like
Yeah.
someone spitting all
What
over.
about Smits? You like Smits? But Farky is a whole thing. So you can, Fergie, Farky, your Fergusons and your Farkies get mixed up.
Yeah, you enjoy
So
your
our
coffee?
guest, having said all of that nonsense,
You like your coffee?
thank you very much for the
No,
coffee.
No, thank you. Just saying if you like it.
I do like it,
Okay.
and I'm saying thank you very much for the coffee. I have to admit, I feel a little hopped up.
Oh, now you see how it's get. I'm bringing this no more then.
No, I like it.
Yeah. He is hopped up. You see him come dancing and tapping the. He's normally hopped up, right?
So that
Yeah.
means I'm like triple jumped up now, by the
Yeah.
way. Yeah, triple jump. Anyway, so thank you very much for the coffee. The Starbucks, I am able to say that because they're related to one of our sponsors,
What a,
Subway.
oh yeah.
So I'm able to.
I had a little brain fart just now. I was like, what a, oh yeah.
In the Bahamas, we don't say brain fart.
I don't say the other word because I hate
Okay.
that word.
Okay.
Don't say that word. I hate that word. Yeah.
So anyway, it's a pleasure. We had what I would call last evening, the dueling conventions.
Right.
You had two conventions on. I don't know who. I would assume, and I'm appalled at the Democratic National Convention. What do you call it?
The
the
DNC? You're
appalled that they would dare plan a convention while we're having our convention.
National Movements Convention.
How did they get the schedule?
They didn't get the schedule.
You see? And by the way, it's schedule, as we say in the Bahamas,
Yeah.
but we say schedule.
I don't say. I've never
But it's
said
schedule. So the DNC, that's our Washerman Smith woman again.
What?
Washerman Smith, the girl who had to resign because they leaked the emails.
Oh.
I think her name is what's her name? Something Washerman Smith, who was the chairman of the DNC, and then she had to resign. She obviously didn't look at the schedule and say, "Look, the FNM is having their convention. We can't conflict with them. No one's going to be watching our convention."
Or perhaps the FNM should have looked at the schedule and said the DNC is having theirs.
Of course, you know that I'm
You're being
being
sarcastic, of course.
and facetious and
I know
all
you
that.
are. I know you are.
Because it isn't like no one can tune in from the States.
From Montana.
Okay,
Trying
to say, you know what, the FNM convention, I think I watch it that. Okay, so there was I was torn because not so much the convention, because I didn't watch the Republican one. It was too much stress. I was torn because my man Obama was on, and I watched him, and we'll talk about that later. But the big thing, of course, is the Free National Movement convention. Did you have an opportunity to watch the convention?
I did watch it. I was in between, like most Bahamians in between, except you.
Well, you don't know what I was in between.
Well, you told me you were.
You see, you're hold on, time out. You're getting into private conversations. I don't appreciate that. I'm saying that to you on the air. But I did watch the part of it before Bam Bam. So between Tim Kaine and Minnis, I watched that part. I think I saw a little bit of the Grant man. That's the man from.
Who, Nico?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I heard a lot of cliches. That's what I heard.
Cliches were the order of the day. At the
I think I
convention.
heard that. I think, and not only were they cliches, they were like 1968 cliches. So
Let me tell you something.
Tell me something.
Let me tell you something. I like I said, I was in between the two conventions, and they couldn't be more starkly different. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I was a bit disappointed, and I'm not gonna go in on the FNM. Okay.
You are. So go ahead.
No, I'm going to make observations. Yeah, you do. I do.
You did that.
I know I do in the neck movement, right? That was for you.
Yeah, that wasn't for me. You gotta help yourself.
It was very. Yeah, I can't help myself. It was disappointing for me. It came across as a minstrel show. I felt like I was watching a parody of a convention.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to hear something more substantive.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to hear Dr. Minnis articulate his vision for the party.
Mm-hmm.
Now, granted, he hasn't been elected, but he seems quite confident that he is going to be re-elected as leader of the party.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought he squandered an opportunity to really just give us something a little bit more substantial about his platform and what he intends to do. I felt like Loretta Butler Turner didn't really get a fair shake last night. Obviously, she gets to speak for about 25 minutes tonight. But I didn't like the crowd's participation of Rock with Talk and all of this hoopla, and it just didn't feel well. I felt like Dr. Minnis could have just kind of toned that crowd down a bit.
Well, the whole point, I'm going to say this to you, the whole point of a convention is to have the crowd not toned.
No,
if you watch the conventions in this U.S., the whole thing was about guilty and all of those type of things. That's what they like to do.
Yes, under normal circumstances, you're absolutely correct. But we're talking about a party that is trying to bridge the gap, trying to appear unified. And so there are certain things that you need to temper. I think that's what my issue was. I felt it was a bit contrived. There was an overuse of the unity songs and, oh, we're all happy family, but as if Bahamians are stupid.
Well, it's always opinion. If you recall, if you call it in the Democratic convention, the Feel the Burn crowd, very, very vocal, even to the point where I think last night Obama referred to it. But the point is, I mean, my thing is, first of all, does Minnis or whomever wins the election, do they speak on Friday?
I would assume so.
Right. So obviously, then you can assume that to your point, if he's making the assumption that he's going to win, which is not necessarily wise thing to do at this point, then obviously he has an opportunity to spell out that vision then. Is that the only opportunity? If you have I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you what I listened to what you were saying. I'm just saying what I'm feeling now, what I'm thinking. Whether wise or not, that's maybe what he's thinking. I didn't see the whole thing. I did, I've never been much into the whole, dance show thing, which is always permeated See, the thing is about
I have a
Bahamian
problem with
politics. Bahamian politics is always about, and this is why I liked, again, I'm contrasting now. You contrasted with Obama, the conventions, right? Is about being. It's a we thing. Obama said last night. The thing is with Trump, it's like he's going to come and save the world, and America doesn't want rulers. We seem to be really freaked out or focused on one person taking the course, right? And to just follow them blindly and do the slogans, et cetera, et cetera. So that's my problem. That has always been my problem. That's my problem with Bahamian politics, period. So yeah, to that point, I agree with you that the whole song and dance bit, it's just juvenile. I find it juvenile. So the unity thing, that's to be seen, because at the end of the day, after the what do you call it, the vote, then we'll really know how unified they are. But
Yeah, but I just listen. I hear your point about if he's reelected leader on Friday, you might hear something more substantial or substantive. But the fact of the matter is, you had an opportunity when you were on that stage to communicate something, because unless you really know for sure, and I'm sure he knows if he's going to win or not. But I mean, it's just an opportunity for let people know exactly what you plan to do as prime minister, as leader of the party. And I just felt like it was a shallow address. There are some key talking points, yes, but it just was a squandered opportunity.
Yeah. Well, in your opinion, it was,
yes,
and his opinion, maybe it wasn't. Yeah. So, I think that we're in a really bad state, and it's an interesting parallel between what's happening in the United States and what's happening here in terms of the void of leadership. Although I think that the Democrats are showing a lot of maturity, coming around to where they're coming around to. It's interesting. Another thing, Rogan Smith. What do you think about the capacity or the influence that the narrative has? Now, let me just explain. So, Hillary Clinton. Now, and I'm going to compare it with local because I'm doing this comparison, right? So Hillary Clinton people are calling her crooked Hillary. And, I listen to all of the, I would assume, facts of her life, where from high school to now, in terms of what she has actually done. And I'm left with no other choice but to ask the question, so what has Trump done? That's my question, right? And I'm thinking, this guy, right, has scammed people out of money.
You talking about university?
Yeah, well, universities, bankrupted companies, and then he's a crook, and I don't know what the crook thing is on her. I mean, I'm not saying she isn't. I'm just saying, can you tell me what that is?
Yeah, well, that's up to her camp to keep hammering him and letting people know his deficiencies.
But it shows you how a narrative, how it can shape you. Yeah. I could say, we could be on here and someone can decide, that Rogan Smith, we're gonna put her in a caricature and we're gonna hammer that over and over and over again, and then the rest of the media buys into it, and the media hammers it over and over again. So the question I'm saying is, even in our scenario, right? We have a narrative of one on one point, incapable, etc., on the other, and it just starts feeding itself. And you don't know how it ever boils out till it boils out, because I'll tell you, up until Monday, okay? The narrative is almost changing now, because you have all this time of one group getting to put their message out there.
Right.
And now it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out with the FNM, But it just shows you the enormous power of the media, and how if you don't get on it, if you don't...
Yeah, you have to. I think the days are gone where you can, if you see the media or public sentiment shaping certain
you can't ignore it.
Narratives, you can't ignore it. Because in the past we used to say, well, it'll blow over in a few weeks or in a few days. But now you have to kind of be on it, on the defensive, and letting people know what is true and what is not. You can't let somebody else shape the events.
Say I'm going to go a little risque. Are we out of time? Say this is the only scenario where the husband got fellatio and the wife got screwed.
Oh.
Yeah, go ahead. Let's take your break. Yeah, take your break. See, you're supposed to cut immediately that.
Shine Insurance, Roman Meal Bread, Arawak Homes, Kalik, Woodlawn Gardens.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, Ed Fields here along with Rogan Smith. We are here on Ed Fields Live, Thursday. I want to talk about, for how much ever time we have left, about maturity. Mm-hmm. Okay?
Thank you.
You got your 10 minutes. Thank you. And you can say it. I don't mind. I know this is the radio thing, but I don't care. Because, see, I just said it. We got 10 minutes? All right. So about maturity, right? Mm-hmm. And people always refer, and we've heard it many times on the show, that we're a young nation, all that. Mm-hmm. But, I don't think maturity requires you to go 200 years before you can be mature.
You can be a young mature.
I think if you're 59 and you're in politics, you can actually be mature, even if the country's only 1 year old.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So the thing is, I look at what's happening in the U.S. and I see hard-fought campaigns, and this goes back to even 2008. Mm-hmm. People may not recall, but the fight between Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama was which word did you use? Fierce. Mm-hmm. Okay, brutal. Yeah. Okay, she had the commercials about who is gonna, who do you want in the 3:00 bus. It was a big bus up, and they were pissed off. Mm-hmm. Bill Clinton was pissed off, right? He went in, okay, and now. You saw, I don't know if you saw the end of the speech last night.
Did. When she came out and they embraced.
But and it was real.
That was genuine.
Okay? As soon as she walked, I mean, I'm even getting a little emotional, right? I get emotional because I get emotional on this stuff when people connect. When she walked on the stage and how she looked at him, right? And how they embraced. And then you've never seen this in the history of any political campaign. Because of the dynamic between the man and the woman, then she got that other little hug with the head on the thing.
And holding the hand down below.
And the head on the... A complete, but real, and this is the kind of thing that we need to know. Like, we can differ on opinion, but what is the objective? Okay? If you are a party and you feel that you're, like what's the girl? Silverman. Sarah Silverman, the comedian. When she said to the burning your bus people, she said, "You burning your bus people, you're being ridiculous." Oh. Because now you're saying, oh, you didn't get your guy, so you're going to go with Trump?
Yeah, that's immature. You really want to see what's best for the country, or you just mad about, you
get over it,
Yeah.
But ironically, most of those people who are in that camp are first-time voters, so they're not not voters, but first-time delegates and stuff like that. So it's a lesson to be learned here about what is your objective.
Your objective, and it's a lesson about timing too, because who could have, like I said, the campaign was so fierce that Hillary launched against Barack Obama, right? That you would think that at the end they would not even be friends, and then he turned around and made her Secretary of State. And then look what I didn't want to read this thing right here. They said they shared a moment of symbolism. This is last night during their embrace. The nation's first African-American leader entrusting its future to the woman who could become its first female commander.
Oh, it's a completely different dynamic. And I sit there and see, this is why I watch these things, because it's theater, right? But it's real, right? And I sit there and I watch, and I'm going to use all the demographics. I watch 3 or 4 white guys who are sitting with Bill Clinton, standing up and clapping and intent on listening to Barack Obama. And I look at that room. I look at that room, and I just see... I see what I think many people don't understand about why America is great, is because that room is what people want to aspire to. They want to feel loved. They want to feel connected to people. They want to feel that we're in this together. And that's why they destroyed Donald Trump last night, because he's into the I. He's into this, only this group of people should have ownership.
Exactly. And the Democrats, was like a message of inclusiveness. You know what I mean? Everybody... I saw they I don't know if you saw when they put the camera right on a gay couple and they were talking about all these different things. I was like,
everyone's embracing it.
Everybody is in this room,
right?
And you could see the love that people had in their eyes and the respect that they had for Barack Obama as he was speaking.
Then you go to the Republicans and they're like, okay,
your good friend.
We have to find 2 in the audience.
Who challenged Russia to find Hillary's emails?
Huh? He's a nutcase.
This power of suggestion he's got going on. Man, I wish Russia would just go and find that. I hate that.
He did it twice, and then he said, I was just joking.
Yeah.
You're not joking, Mr. Guy who wants to be president. Yeah. This is not jokes.
I thought he said once he received the nomination that we'd see a more somber
he can't help himself.
Sober-minded individual, and we don't see that.
You know how you like to do the neck and you can't help yourself?
That?
He can't help himself.
And they do that with
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, only with me. That's
Yeah.
now, you know what? I'm going to
do-
call Nishka. Nishk. And I call in people's office. I know they get the neck.
No, they don't. They
I'm
don't.
calling them.
Call them.
Okay, well, I can call them now. I call them now.
Figure and Karis. They'll tell you.
You don't even, that neck's so loose, you don't even know what's happening with that neck. That neck on a spring.
I don't like that. I have to watch that with you because I always do that, and it's so annoying.
Okay, you don't do it with no one else. I'm making the
don't.
call to Chiquita tomorrow. Okay? Chiquita can say, right now, if someone texted you to say, I wish I could give my number on the air. I don't want to give my number on the air.
You want me to give them your number?
Yeah, give them my number because they'll text me to see if that neck is working in that office. But the Trumpster can't help himself.
Yeah.
But again, I want to bring it back home because we are in a very interesting year in terms of the parallels. And one of the things that I feel disappointment about is, and again, this is, and I remember I'm saying it on the air, I'm not here to take sides, to poke fun. I'm here to try to say, look, if you are a party and you have an objective, and your objective is to win the government of the Bahamas, and you feel that there's a message, how immature is it to be politically, to be fighting your fight in public, to be, name calling in public? Do that internally. You because what happens is this. If you're not doing it internally and you fight publicly, when you say you're united, it looks phony.
Yeah, it looks fake.
It looks contrived.
And people have very long memories. I mean, you can't expect the minute you say we're united, and then
Okay.
they say, "Oh, okay, they're united now." It's like,
I mean, even in the situation with Bernie Sanders,
oh, you could see he was upset last night.
of course. Well, I mean, you're disappointed, but the thing is,
Yeah.
even the fact that their campaign was hard fought, there was never any nasty, dirty. You can't come back from that
Yeah.
type of scenario.
He may play a role in
Oh,
Hillary's
but
campaign.
no, but do you know what happened, right? His platform is 90% a part of the Democratic platform. He basically got everything he wanted
Yeah, but
because he had the control.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, you know what?
What he wants, he didn't.
At the end of the day, you've got to say to yourself this. If you are really, really, yeah, I know you're thinking, boy, I can get to be on Air Force One. But if you really,
Are
really,
serious about change and wanting the country to be better, you should be pleased with the fact that they're going to.
and you got to hold it to fire. You got to hold them to fire. That's what Obama said. He said, now, if you people are serious, then you've got to vote,
Yes.
and then you've got to hold those politicians
Yes.
to the fire to deliver what they said they would deliver. So I think, by the way, I don't know, it's going to be interesting because Hillary Clinton is coming on tonight. And I have a feeling that this could be transformative for her. Because they done rehearsed this 15 trillion
Well,
times.
good. That's why it comes across so well on
Right,
TV.
right. Did you see the part with the glass break? So at the end, in the first night, they did a thing where she accepted the nomination, and they did a picture, one by one, of all of the presidents from George Washington, and it filled up the screen, in squares. And then it broke.
It's shattered.
Shattered, and then she was there with some girls, some little girls.
Wow.
They it's
Well,
the production, man.
The
Yeah.
production is awesome.
So I would just hope that
You'll be tuning in? You'll be tuning in tonight? Or not?
oh yeah. Well, I mean, I'm going to flick back and forth,
Are you-
but I'm going to watch Hillary. I'm sorry. I'm watching that. That to me at this point, I have more interest in that because at the end of the day, you know what? I don't even have a role. See, I don't even have a role in this thing that's going on
Yeah.
that they call a convention.
I
It's
mentioned
400
that-
people.
I mentioned that today again. I said, boy, I remember when we first started and you were talking about, you asked me the question, do we have a democracy? And I was like, yeah, we have a democracy. What are you talking about? And when you started outlining things, I was like, you know what?
Let me tell you
I didn't
something.
Think about it that way.
I'm going to tell you
the
something.
party.
I'm going to tell you something. This is going to get to you.
Okay.
How much time we have? 2
2
minutes. So this old lady comes out right before Obama last night and says, I bet y'all wondering about who this old lady is. And she says how she had 3 sons who fought in Afghanistan. And that's the other thing. They appreciate what it is to fight for a country. And she says, I'm a Gold Star family because one of them died. And she said, Obama came to the funeral, and when he heard that the Gold Star parents were there, he came over and demanded to see them. And he hugged me. And he made me feel so inspired.
Wow.
And she said, then we had another thing. And he called for me and he gave me another hug. I got 2 hugs from the president. And what he did inspired me so much that at 73 years old, I decided that I am going to try to give back to my country, and I ran for the local school board.
Are you kidding?
Now, you know what that made me feel at that point? See, that's democracy. She can decide. Any one of those people in that room could decide that they're running for office. We cannot do that here.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
You cannot just decide, oh, I'm going to run for office.
Yeah.
The path doesn't go that way.
Yeah.
Okay? And it's up to you. You can run with no dollars because you're going to pit yourself up against whoever else puts themselves up. Here you've got to go and pander to some committee.
Yep.
And they don't care what the people want or who doesn't want it. And it's only at that single level.
So unfair.
There's no local school. Well, we do have school boards, so that. But I don't know what they do.
It's so unfair.
But there's no local government. There's no sheriff. There's no. Everything is appointed by the king. And so, no, Rogan Smith, we don't live in a
No on the
democracy.
democracy.
You get it now?
Oh, I got it.
I older than you know.
You are?
Yeah, man.
How many years?
2, 3. See, again, you're supposed to hit the button.
96.1.
Did we have the going back to? We had that piece? And now back to?
Yeah, she said it now
Okay.
back to.
Okay.
Get St. Chester.
So, you see, what I'm doing is I'm going through the technical part of the show on air.
Why is that?
I just feel like doing it.
That's
Okay,
what people understand.
like you're supposed to hit the button. That's what I'll do from now on, Osprey. Huh?
Do other radio stations do this?
From now on, this is how we're going to do it, Osprey. We're going to do it, and then when I'm ready to end, I'm going to go, okay, hit the button now.
You do like do this like you're getting ready to rap?
No, I ain't going through all of that.
And then do that.
I ain't going through all of that. So other things that made the news yesterday, and again, carrying on with this issue about democracy, was this thing about the survey about the public wants Loretta Butler Turner. And I'm thinking, fine, maybe that's true, but is it reflective of the delegates?
Yeah, that's what's important because the public ain't voting.
And
now, if that were a case of we are at a general election and they were, stacking her up against Perry Christie, then it would,
do you know, and I'm not familiar with the
more.
process, but do you know, I think this is the case, that you even get to be able to be elected as a delegate?
Say what now?
I think that in the U.S., right, you can even stand to be a delegate.
Oh.
You see what I'm saying? Even the selection of the delegates is democratic. Here, I don't know who the delegates are, man.
Yeah, I said I was going to ask for that list to see who these delegates.
Have you ever met a delegate? Never met a delegate. No one ever goes around saying I'm a delegate.
Is it
the only
top secret?
But I don't know. The only people who are delegates are the party, like the parliamentary people, the party officers.
Are you talking about excluding them?
The branch people and meritorious whatever. So I guess you could get the list. What you need to do from now on, anytime you hear someone announces meritorious, write that down.
Yeah.
Keep that down. So it's like a secret crew of people that no one knows. So you can't even lobby them. I guess they wouldn't be able to handle it.
Yeah. So this firm, they surveyed 350 Free National Movement voters, but like you said, there's no saying that they're delegates. So I don't know what's the benefit of it.
Yeah. Well, I guess it helps to. I think that one of the things, I tell you what I think. I think that, like, you see these rallies, like, Minnis had a pre-convention rally and they had the launches. You know what that's about? That's about trying to show people, you see how many people I got? You, Mr. Delegate, better vote for this guy because he had the most people, and so that means he could win. And by the way, if he win, you could get some stuff. I don't know. Because it's about stuff. You realize that, right?
Something maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. How many years is that?
Yeah. 5, right? But what I don't know, that something about me, like if I feel like somebody mightn't, I know this sounds crazy, right? But like in things like this, if I feel like somebody mightn't get the vote, like I'm going to vote for them. Like that's just the champion of the underdog in me. Like
if they mightn't get the vote?
Yeah, like if I feel like too many people are going over here, it makes me question things.
Yeah.
You
want me to put that?
If
you want
I
me
see
to put
1,000 people going through a door,
you want me to put that to test for you? You want me to put that to a test for you? So if 1,000 people was going for, say, Osprey and one for Hitler, you'll feel like you need to go to underdog Hitler?
Obviously, come on now. Let's not be ridiculous. But I'm just saying it makes me question things. I don't just usually go the path that everybody is going. That's just something about me. Most
Yeah.
people always say
Is that what's
contrarian in me.
exactly?
Whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
see?
no, they can come right in.
Yeah,
I
and
guess.
contrarian.
Yeah.
That's
the
yeah.
contrarian
Yeah, you
in
can't
me.
help yourself on
I
that either.
don't know.
There are a lot of things you can't help yourself on, you know.
What's that?
Just in things. I'm saying things. Okay. How you doing?
Hello.
So there's just stuff. You see, there's just stuff, and people in this country are voting. You know, that young man can come in here. You know, he doesn't have to sit in there. The husband or there's a chair right there. There's yeah. Tell him to come in. Osprey, just tell him to come in. Oh, he wants to be in there. Okay, good.
You
All
want
right.
another man
And it's very important. You see, we have a lawyer here, and she has to put a jacket on to be in the radio.
I love it.
Okay.
Listen, I had a co-worker when I used to work at Love 97.
It's hot.
He would put on his jacket to go and do the news. That was his thing.
But you know, like we're in Radio Land. So and by the way, it's warm. If you get warm, feel free to take the jacket. What are you doing? Did he hit the button? No. This must have been this that hit. Yeah. Feel free to take it off. I apologize to Osprey. Yeah, but so what were you talking about? Oh, we were talking about this survey.
Yeah, I was talking about, I tend to.
Well, the
said that's
contrarian
in me.
Yeah.
I used to run away from that.
Oh, you used to run away with it?
because
When did you stop running away from that, Rogan?
When I started this show.
Oh, okay. All right.
When I started this show. Now I embrace it.
Okay, you embrace your contrarianness.
Would you like a Tic Tac after that coffee?
Certainly. I get. Oh, you know what's happening? Our guest, our one guest is hitting the cord, and so that's why I'm hitting it. With her purse. Okay, there you go. See? Take your time, man. Relax. Yeah. I am very concerned when people offer me mints.
No, well, you're all the way over there. I can't smell your breath.
But you might have smelled it earlier.
No, I have. Let me say this publicly.
Okay.
I have never, ever smelled your breath.
Okay.
Ever.
You mean you never smelt it, or you mean it's not terrible?
No, I've never smelt it.
Okay.
I think you're like an alien. And I am one of those people. I don't like people who have bad breath close to me.
Oh boy.
And you're taller than me, and usually your breath will drop, but no.
The breath drops.
Yeah.
Breath drops. Is that a scientific? Is that
That's a scientific thing. According to me, your breath will drop.
Well, how come that there are people who are shorter than me, and I smell their stink breath, and it ain't dropping? Because if it would drop, I would be okay. In fact, I'm taller than most people, and I smell breaths all the time,
Well, that's a serious
and the breath is not dropping.
The breath cries.
We're gonna take a little break after having talked about breath dropping, and we'll come back to a more serious conversation. I'm going to say something to Ramona. I'm hot now. You came in and you put on the Velvet jacket. I don't know how you can handle that. Feel free.
Live, brought to you by Alternative Dispute Resolution Bahamas, Bristol Wines and Spirits, Wendy's, Coca-Cola.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Ed Fields here along with Rogan Smith. Why are you laughing? You never gave me the Tic Tac.
You say you didn't want it?
No, I didn't say that. I questioned as to why you asking.
Well, would you like it?
Would you like my attorney to represent what I said?
You ain't
You see how she just making up stuff? Okay. All right. So we have with us Ramona Farquharson Seymour. And it's good to have you here. She's a member of the criminal bar, I might add. Mm-hmm. And she's wearing black and white because that's what you have to wear. You can't go with like a mauve in the court system, right?
Be sober colors.
Sober, yeah. Would a gray do?
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
I see. Nothing, not a purple or anything like that.
No, sir.
So basically gray, black, and white.
Or navy blue.
Oh, navy blue. That's right. That's right. So how are you?
Fine, thank you.
That's good. Well, Ramona, I'm glad that you came. I missed the first show that you and Alex were on.
Yes.
And I understand that was a fantastic show.
Yep. Yes.
And it was about, the whole theme that we put out there was knowing your rights.
Yes, sir.
But before, you called me sir.
Sorry.
It makes me nervous. One of the things before we get into some of those issues, is to talk about our system. And when I say that, I mean in a generic sense. Mm-hmm. That often, and I'm sure this is all very cliche, and many people are born, but I want to see if we can tackle it from a different angle. The fact that the system seems to be clogged because of attorneys. And I know, of course, you would refute that. But, I mean, you know, the fact that the delays, the technicalities, as opposed to, you know, things just running through like Perry Mason, you know, where the defendant just breaks down, you know. What do you say to that, though, that the system seems to be, you know, just this myriad of entanglements,
endless clogging,
to get rather than getting to the ultimate decision, whether guilty or not?
Well, first of all, one of the reasons for the backlog, I would say, would be because the Crown, they choose which cases they wish to put on. In recent times, there was a system has been developed where you not only have substantive matters on the books, but also backup matters. And so therefore the Crown ought to be prepared to go ahead with a substantive matter. And if that falls through, there should be one or two backups for them to go. So
What's a substantive matter?
A substantive date would therefore mean the main matter. This is the main matter.
Okay.
But for whatever reason, it doesn't go on. Therefore, you have backups, and those ought to be ready to proceed as well. Now, because
So this is the schedule. So you have one on the schedule. If that doesn't happen, get the next one.
Yes, you have another 2 or 3. But what we're finding, and I guess to be fair to all sides,
Right.
criminal practice is a specialized field. Very much, if you want a heart surgery or brain surgery, you're just not going to go to a general practitioner for the most part. You want someone who has a good reputation. Particularly, your life is at stake. And so there are only a few of us who practice at the criminal bar.
Well, yeah, that's not the majority.
No, you have maybe about 30 of us who practice at the criminal bar. And then
And you got a lot of criminal cases.
And persons would argue that, well, the ones who at the top of that 30% is even less than the 30 who they may think that are the best. Then that narrows it even further. And if a person comes into the firm, they would say, although you have other lawyers there, they would say, well, no, I'm paying for you. So I want you to deal with the matter.
Yeah, they don't want number 30.
They want a junior attorney.
And so very many times, and it has happened to me and other attorneys, you are in another trial. And so when a matter comes up, obviously you can't stop that matter that
you might
you're
be
in.
for the backup one and you can't stop it.
And so, like, I had a murder trial that ran on for 4 to 5 weeks. So therefore, the unlawful sexual intercourse matter that I had, that had to come out of the list before another judge. And then hopefully the backups ought to be ready.
And not only, that's what I was going to say. I mean, it's like you got to be standing there in the wing. It doesn't happen that way, right?
So, and then the Crown would say to you, well, listen, there are only a few of us in the Attorney General's office, that they're overworked. And also the difficulty in getting witnesses. They would very much, because we hear their complaints, they say, listen, it's very difficult to set up matters, to get people to come to court. And of course, we've had a lot of changes and developments in the law to assist that. Now we have anonymous witnesses.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a couple of questions. See, this is how we do this show. One thing leads to the next.
Yes,
we
sir.
don't.
Sorry. Yes.
You just
yes.
If you wish, you know what you can use. Take my lud. If you wish, if you feel comfortable with that. But anyways, first of all, it's astonishing because I know people who were called to the bar when there were 15 people at the bar.
Oh.
Right, and it is astonishing to me that as the bar has expanded, and I know it's expanded to some 1,500, that there are only 30 people in the criminal practice. The question is, why?
First of all, a lot of females do not like to practice criminal law at the criminal bar. They just don't like it. They would prefer civil family matters. So out of that 30, you have fewer females who you see around who practice. For whatever reason, that's their preference. They don't like to go to the prison. They don't like to go to police stations, getting up all hours of the night, and you have to go there.
And dealing with the brothers them.
And so for
I said that, not you.
for that reason, and so that's really the reason. Yeah.
So now we have a situation.
Also, I wish to add, it doesn't pay as good as
you wish to add.
Yes.
Don't forget to wish to add that.
All this crime, they need an attorney.
Well, she got to go on volumes.
A lot of times they don't have the funds. Their families scrap around. So whereas you can sit in your office and make such a huge amount on conveyancing and other civil matters or corporate matters. Criminal work is hard work, but the rewards perhaps is not as great.
Okay.
Now I'm going to throw something at you, and actually I've already been asked to have a show on this and to really expand this debate. Perhaps maybe you as a defense lawyer would be the, I suppose, opponent to this, but maybe not. And that is the issue of how do we speed up this process by eliminating jury trials, trial by jury. The argument, of course, is that first of all, we have such a small pool that there's always this stuff, right? And that, let's face it, that there's a lot. Listen, I was on a jury once. I had to report to the judge because the guy said simply, "Listen, I hear, so that means he's guilty of something."
That's a problem.
Okay. Another one said, "Well, if he ain't guilty of this one, he's guilty of something else."
Right.
So we have a kind of a weird jury pool. Then there's the actual what do you call it, jury tampering. And people being fearful as jurors because, if you have a murder trial, will that jury, because there's witness protection, but there's not such thing, I think, as jury protection.
They can be sequestered.
Right, but they could be threatened that, listen, if you don't, I'm not saying that's happening, but that's a potential.
Wait, but does that happen a lot?
No.
Okay.
But she, remember now,
she's very rare. I mean, you have jurors that walk out of court, they stand up and talk. And No.
But you don't have a scenario where people feel threatened, you say?
No, it's very, very rare.
Okay.
Very rare.
Witnesses feel threatened.
Well, so they say.
She's a defense attorney. She's a defense attorney, so I'm going to let it slide that way.
No, I feel that you should be able to face your accuser.
Right.
If someone says that they saw me commit a murder, I feel that I should be able to face you. If you say that you've known me for all my life, you've seen me grow up in an area, and so that night, although the light may have been dim, it may not have been the best circumstance, but it's not a matter of identification, but recognition. I know Rogan, and Rogan did this. How is it fair that you are hidden behind a screen, your voice is modulated, and you are able to give this evidence, and the jury can consider this evidence, but your attorney cannot properly cross-examine it?
Well,
because we don't know who it is.
I think, see, I love this stuff. Now we're going to get into a little legal thing here. Because I think, for one, it's very difficult to have witness protection here. Because it's like we can't send anyone to Montana, and no one wants to go to Mayaguana. So the reality is there's very little witness protection. The reality is there have been witnesses who have been killed. That's a fact. We don't need to debate that.
And the reality is that you have a lot of street justice, and before defendants can even get to stand trial, they are also killed.
It's on both sides.
It's on both sides.
I'm not denying that. But the point I'm making though is because of our nuance, okay, because of all of the factors that come with a, first of all, very small society, combined with a very high rate of violent crime, not necessarily commensurate with the size of society, that there are these nuances. And so the question is, how do we together, defense attorneys, the society, the prosecution, how do we find a way? You see, if it was up to me, I go like what the Russians do, sodium pentothal. I like that. I watch all the spy movies. You could be there to make sure you don't ask no questions about no one else, about nothing else. But I want you to ask, Rogan, did you kill Ramona? Yes. Okay, take him out and shoot him. That's what I want. No. I'm being very... No, yes.
No.
He's admitted it, yeah.
No, you have the right to remain silent. Jesus Christ was silent when he was accused of the most abominable things.
Yes.
And he was our savior.
And he was an innocent man who went... He was an innocent man who went to jail. He was innocent.
He died for our sins, and he was silent.
Gully, he died for my sin.
But what I'm saying is, it's our Judeo-Christianity that falls through the law,
Ramona,
where you have the right to be silent.
Ramona, I love you. I really do. But you don't. And let me tell you why you don't. Here's the deal. Okay? It's, by the way, they're coming to you now. This is a commercial. They come there. You can be on their side. Okay? Yeah. Okay? But here's the deal that I feel. We're a part of society.
Yes.
Okay? You have children. You have children?
No, I don't.
Oh, you don't? Okay. So I was being an assumption. So let's assume you had children. You don't want your children lying to you. You expect that if your child did something wrong, okay, that they should be punished for what they did wrong. Okay? Now, here's the deal. If you did something wrong, like kill 13 children, I don't care about your right of silence.
But you're alleged to have killed.
Hold on. No.
That's
Listen to the train here.
Right.
I would rather you, this is what I don't want to happen. I don't want what happened to Jesus to happen to you, where as an innocent man, you ended up going to be crucified, as opposed to if you're guilty, you're crucified.
But let's wait a minute there.
Wait a minute.
Let's say you said you killed 13 children.
Yeah.
Well, let's get into the facts of that. Let's say, yes, you killed 13
You did,
children,
boy.
but 13 children may have gang raped you. 13 children may have just, I don't know, bullied you to the point that you snap. So there are a lot of circumstances.
Well, then
yes,
ask, did you snap?
but what I'm saying is this. The police investigate. Don't beat my child to make my child confess
I agree.
Yeah,
to,
you know, I totally
to killing
disagree.
13
Oh, I agree.
children.
I agree.
Beat my child that they admit to whatever. Don't go into my home and arrest me to force my child to confess. Don't do those things.
Ramona?
Let's be civilized.
Ramona, let
Yes?
me just say this to you. My darling love. And I say that, I know your husband is in the other room. I don't want to get into that. Now, what I'm saying is this. I understand your position as a passionate defense attorney. Okay? I understand that. I'm talking about how one of the things we do on this show is we talk about how we have formed ourselves socially,
Yes.
how we've come to where we are. And the reason we can think of a number of things, we talk about it with relationships, we talk about it with a number of things, that we come to a point where, for instance, let me give you an example. The war on drugs, okay? The criminalizing, okay, of young men mostly and women who get caught with a gaseous mind-altering substance as opposed to going to the liquor store and getting a liquid form of mind-altering
had that
substance,
conversation.
okay?
Yeah.
And them being criminalized. I don't care about the decriminalization of marijuana, but them being criminalized for mind-altering because it's in gaseous form, okay? That is wrong. That's a wrong conclusion. We have, in my opinion.
Well, in your opinion.
right.
But the majority of your citizens may very well
the
disagree
majority
with
of
you.
my citizens in one
Because,
era
of
wanted us to
course,
be slaves. I don't go by the majority.
Well,
okay?
no, your parents don't want. I don't think they would
Then-
want their
then-
children in their
Then
homes
fine. Then
smoking
it shouldn't be
marijuana.
under 18. I'm saying. Look, this is what I'm saying to you. We can have rules about what you should and shouldn't do, and it is at a parental level that a lot of these things should happen. I get that. Just like drinking. But
Yes.
no kid at 14 is going to jail for drinking. They don't get a criminal record for drinking. No one wants their child drinking.
Well,
Right?
I don't know that we have a real epidemic of 14-year-olds going into
Oh,
bars.
I think you're.
at least I'm saying I
think
don't
you're
see
being.
it coming
No,
before
they're not
the
going into
court.
They're not going because there's nothing to go to court for. There's no law. Okay.
Well, there is a law.
Well,
There
I
is a
don't.
law.
Well, let's put it this way.
You have to be
Let me just
18
say
years
this
of
to you.
age.
Let me say this to you, Ramona. I can assure you. See, I'm going to volunteer me. That
Right.
when I was 16,
Oh, be careful.
I had drinks. No, I had
okay.
drinks. I had drinks. I had
You
many
went
drinks.
and you purchased
Oh
these
yeah,
items?
I purchased the drinks many times.
They-
Green's
they-
liquor store.
They allow. I've seen.
I'm
children
volunteering.
going into
I'm volunteering,
liquor stores
Ramona.
Purchasing.
Osprey, did you purchase drinks under 18? No, you didn't. You're
Thank
a good
you.
guy.
Thanks.
Okay, I did. Okay, and I'll bring you a whole list of people if you want tomorrow
And
who
your
did.
parents were aware of this?
No, they weren't.
Oh.
The point I'm making is if they had caught me, no one was going to send me to jail and give me a criminal record.
Well, to be honest, with marijuana, the magistrates have taken a certain approach, particularly for your first offense and maybe even for your second.
You know
they
what?
are not giving them.
Criminalizing it,
They're
right.
not giving them records.
Right.
They tend to send them for counseling,
Right.
and they say, "Listen,
a
keep it out
certain
of your
And
system
you know why they're not
for
doing it?
1 year."
Yeah.
Because of course, Atlantis wouldn't hire you. Other places, I
Right.
mean, it pretty much destroys
Because you have a record. Exactly, it destroys
and
you.
so the magistrates. they are part of society. They're cognizant, and so
I know they're cognizant,
they're
and I
dealing
love
with
them
it
for it.
appropriately.
I know that I love them for it because they realize it's stupid. Now, the point I'm making
wouldn't
is
say
no, it
stupid.
is. I would. I'm going to say it because to put someone who is 16 years old, who gets caught with a small piece of a joint, and to say, okay, you know what, your life is over now.
But Mr. Fields, listen.
We're to Mr.
This
Fields
is
now.
this is dangerous. What you're saying, because for a 16-year-old to be going to a drug dealer to purchase marijuana, and many oftentimes they're not even fully aware as to what's in that. Because I've heard a lot of cases about lacing of joints. A lot of young people losing their heads. They don't get back
Miss-
to where they are. So it
Ms.
is
Farquharson,
very
I'm
dangerous.
not espousing. Hold on, you're confusing two things.
Right.
I'm not espousing the usage.
But you're saying it's stupid.
No,
to
I said it's
cross-
stupid to criminalize someone for the rest of their life because of this.
I think
That's
you
what
need,
I'm saying.
you then need to understand crime and punishment. The society feels as if
Okay, now I'm going to
it
agree
is
with
so
you.
abhorrent
Right.
to purchase drugs.
Right.
That there are strict sanctions against
Right.
it, because that is the general
So-
feeling. You do not want your children.
Okay.
You do not want your society just
Drunk. I
wasting
get it.
away.
I
Not
get it.
just wasting away. Because when they smoke a joint, oftentimes they're not working. They just laze about. They're not contributing to society.
Something like liquor. I got it. Now, what I'm saying to you is, I got it. I understand. Yes. There are people strewn on the streets, Miss Farquharson. Strewn.
But I don't see them as 16-year-olds.
No.
Right.
Hear what I'm trying to say. I want to be very clear on this. I'm not espousing. See, my position is this: we should be consistent. I'm not espousing the usage of anything by anyone, especially those underage. I'm not espousing that. Please let that be on the record. That's very clear. What I'm having a problem with.
What are you talking about? The hypocrisy of the fact that we don't criminalize people for drinking, for having access to
No
alcohol
matter what
the way we
age.
do.
No matter what age.
The way we
we
do
don't.
for
We don't.
marijuana.
Exactly.
Well, let's look at it in this way. A small joint, the effects of that small joint versus, and because it's usually about a gram, yes? And now we measure that with, let's say, I wouldn't even say a gram of alcohol.
No, we don't
Let's
have a
say half
measurement.
cup.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying the
Let's say a drink.
effects-
Let's say a drink.
The effects of it is so vastly different.
I don't agree with you.
Yes.
Sorry.
You take a cup of wine or a cup of whatever
What about
it
a
is
shot
that
of
they're
tequila?
drinking. Whatever they're drinking compared to
Do you
a
drink?
joint. No, I don't.
Okay, so you don't know then. I'm telling you.
No, but I
know.
know persons who drink, and I
Tequila?
went to school in England. Yes. So no, I'm saying
England
that.
has different drinks. I mean,
Oh, they drink heavily.
Exactly.
Yeah, they do.
They
But
drink
then guess what?
heavily.
And no one is going to jail.
No, but I'm saying
Yeah, they do.
No, and in
They're
fact,
adults.
it's decriminalized. Okay, I'm going to move off of this topic because
Right.
I'm trying to make the point here. I'm trying. The point I was making about when we decide something is a crime,
Yes.
we then act accordingly. I don't agree all the time with it, but we act.
Well, remember now, there was an outlawing of alcohol before, and there were
They
persons.
repealed
who-
it because they realized how ridiculous it was.
Well, persons,
Yes.
majority persons lobbied, and they said that they wanted it back.
Let me
but
ask you a
drugs
question.
is not the same.
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. What is the last in the United States where they had the repeal of alcohol? Prior to the repeal, they had what they had your gangs, your the Untouchables. You saw that movie? I don't know if you saw the
Yes.
movie. Al Capone, the people who the criminals.
Bootlegging.
What's
and-
the last crime gang related to alcohol you're aware of?
Not that I.
Yeah,
Not that
no.
I know.
You know why? Because it's not illegal.
Well, the last thing I heard about alcohol that they had concerns about was persons were taking shots and putting it in their eyes.
Yeah. Well,
I think they were doing that to get a bigger
I'm
buzz.
saying crime.
And so
I'm
that
talking
was,
about crime. I said crime. What is the last criminal enterprise you're aware of, Ms. Farquharson Seymour, related to alcohol?
I don't know.
Well, I
Right.
don't know, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't happen.
No, I'm not saying it doesn't
Yeah.
happen. I'm saying that the reason why the crimes happen is because one of the major reasons why the repeal occurred was not only that people were drinking anyway, was because there was all this crime associated with it. This is why if you go to places like Holland, Portugal, places like that have repealed these rules,
Right.
their crime levels have gone down, their treatment levels have gone up, more people are getting treatment. They're finding a whole range of positive things. Don't take my word. You can research it. But here's what I'm saying. Let's go back to this issue, and I'm glad we're tackling this because this is what we're here to do. We're not here to do some stunted, pro forma question and answer thing. This is very useful conversation. We talk about in this environment if someone killed someone. Now, let me ask you a question. Does anyone, regardless of what the circumstances other than self-defense, have a right to kill someone else?
No.
Okay.
No. But you can have provocation.
Provocation.
We reduce murder to
Extenuating
manslaughter.
circumstances, et cetera, et cetera.
Manslaughter.
Right.
Infanticide.
Right.
Women who give birth within the first 12 months, the law recognizes that their hormones may be imbalanced.
Right.
That's a partial defense.
Right.
Okay.
Whereas
But it's not-
self-defense is a full defense.
Full defense.
Okay.
But the reality is
Insanity.
you don't get, what's the word? You don't, when they totally exonerate you.
Right. No. It would
once
be
you
reduced
kill-
to manslaughter.
Right. You kill, it's a crime.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
No matter what other than self-defense.
self-defense.
Okay. So why would we not reform our thinking to say, while there are people, would you like some water?
Yes, please.
Okay. While there
you.
there are, first of all, we also know this. We also know that the system as it exists now, that innocent people go to jail, correct?
Yes.
Okay. They have a whole thing. It's called the Innocent Project. They get lots of people who they find are in jail innocently. So I would think that the pursuit of justice, that the ultimate objective is to make sure that the people who are being charged and convicted are actually guilty of the crime and not innocent of the crime, and that people aren't cajoled and twisted and the system doesn't twist things so that innocent people with bad, what do you call it, identification, bad,
Yes.
what do they call those, eyewitnesses doing incorrect, they say
Well,
eyewitness
that's why
is the
we have
worst.
checks and balances. You have your first trial, and then you can appeal to the Court of Appeal if you feel as if there were certain errors in law, and then of course you go on to the Privy Council if you're not happy with that.
But why would we? This is just theoretical. Just having a little theoretical discussion
Hold
with
on,
my
just
friend.
real quickly, but if you don't have the money to go take it all
Yeah,
to
well,
the
you're
Privy
screwed.
Council, then you just...
No, you can apply as a pauper for the Privy Council.
Okay.
I'm
Yes.
a pauper just in case anyone again in that situation. Here's the thing I'm saying is why would we not pursue perfection? Not that we can achieve it, but why would we not pursue it? We all wish to be perfect.
Well, I believe that we do pursue perfection.
I think we don't. I think what we do is
Why?
we maintain the status quo.
No,
I think that perfection, more closer to perfection would be, is to seek the truth. Because here's what I'm saying.
But what is the truth?
I'm going to tell you what the truth is. Suppose, and I'm not saying it exists. I'm not saying it exists. I could be wrong.
Right.
But suppose there is a chemical that allows you to say the truth. Okay? And you have an attorney present. Okay? I'm back. Hold on. You have an attorney
They
present.
don't use this, though.
No, I know they don't, but you have an
But
attorney.
it's somewhat barbaric what you're suggesting.
No, I think barbaric is sending an innocent person to jail for life. That's
No,
what I think is
it's
barbaric.
to force me to endure any type of chemical in my body that I don't wish to
Yeah,
have.
I think it's. You know what I think? I think it's important to, like, the person who is a killer to not be a killer. So I'm saying that if there's listen, I would readily listen to this, Ramona. Hear me out on this. If you, for some reason, picked me up
Right.
and I was innocent of a crime, pump me up.
No.
No, yes, I'm the person. I'm the decider of that.
No,
if I am
no.
innocent, okay, this is me. This is my right.
I
if
need to make sure that there's no fault with this.
That's what I said.
If this is a flawless, don't you get mad?
Yeah, no, I'm not
If
mad.
this is a flawless process, that's one thing, but you don't know that is a flawless.
Well, you know what
process.
isn't flawless? The jury system. So
No,
what
it's
I'm
not, and I'm
But,
not saying it
guess
is.
what? The thing about the jury system is this, and I think it's the best possible thing. You have 12 men and women, if it's for murder, from amongst your community, who will sit there and decide your fate. Who better than
No,
they?
I don't trust those people.
What did the
I don't trust
police
those
Well,
people.
fix
let me
the case?
say
I don't
this.
trust
Let
them
me
one
tell you,
bit
it
when-
is
when my
much
life is
better
on the line.
than one judge sitting there where you have no input as to how
I
that
wanna go with the
person came
chemical.
to sit
Yeah.
as a judge. Many times it's political appointments. Many times people have agendas. And you think
I
your
agree with
fate in
you.
the hands of
Ramona,
one person
Ramona.
or 12?
I'd rather
Ramona?
take a chance on somebody who's a learned
Ramona,
judge,
Ramona,
and then if it's a problem,
listen
I
to
can
what I'm
appeal
saying
it,
to you.
rather
Let
than
me
12
tell
people who
Ramona.
just
Let
are
me tell you what I'm
clueless.
saying to you. I worked in like Rogan as a media person. I used to want to be an attorney, in fact, and I went to court to cover the courts. And what I noticed in the Bahamas specifically is that out of all the murder cases that I've ever been exposed to, I have not seen one murder case solved by ballistics. Not one.
No.
Okay?
The police.
This is a problem for me.
Confession.
And you know why it can't be solved for ballistics? Because for one, we don't register guns. So there's no sense having ballistics. There's no one who owns a gun.
No, we do have a register
of
of
who
weapons.
owns a gun. Yeah, but the
Yes,
people
we
who
do.
yeah, but what I'm saying is all of the guns that are generally used in these
They're not
crimes are illegal
registered.
guns.
No,
Okay?
no, but we do have a register.
Okay, so we have a register.
But the police, and that's an interesting point that you've raised because we've been arguing it for quite some time.
Mm-hmm.
The police need to get beyond this archaic practice of beating for
Brutality.
confessions. They need to learn when they come into an area, because you see it on Zedness all the time. They troops through the crime scene and then they pose and they talk on the television about what they found. They have to begin to read crime scenes, blood splatter, collect, and not just only
I
collect
agree.
evidence, send it off to be tested and get the results.
Well, listen, I'm
They
not
don't
going
do
to.
that.
I'm not going to go and say on air that I think that every confession is beaten out of someone. I'm not
A
going to do
great deal
that.
of I'll say
But
it,
but
a
this is
great
what
deal
I'll
of
say.
no.
This is what I will say.
I'll
I will
say
say this: having been exposed to the system,
Right.
I was so terrified that when I went back to the newspaper, I wrote an affidavit or a memo or whatever you call it to myself to say that if I ever been arrested by a crime, I'm going to sign it this way, which is not my signature, to prove that I'm signing it unwillingly.
But you know,
This is how freaked out I was.
Mr.
Okay?
Fields, it's interesting that because you're talking about this serum that you can use to make persons tell the truth. Well, I'm saying to you, you really don't need that, because right now in this country, 90% of the murderers come out with confessions. According to the police, they absolutely walk into CDU and say, "Boss, I did it."
Listen to
And
me,
so
please,
really
my
and
dear
truly, Mr.
Ramona.
Fields, they don't need
Ramona,
a serum.
Ramona, you're a
The
wonderful.
police
you're
have
a
the
wonderful
answer.
defense attorney.
Rogan,
you're
don't
not
they?
gonna. Yeah,
Don't they, Rogan?
You're going to Rogan.
Regan, if they have all these confessions,
She's-
then they don't need a
you know,
serum.
you know what's so good about Ramona in this instance? She can't get away with this in court. Because the judge would say, "Please be quiet, Mr. Okay." What I'm saying to you is, Miss Farquharson
Yes, sir.
Seymour, is I'm talking about La La Land, because what I'm saying is, if there were, I'm talking about change. See, what we have done is, we don't seek change. It's not in our interest. Change means things change for all of us.
I don't
The way
agree with that.
Well, I'm telling you that change is a general thing people are resistant to.
We do seek change. You have, particularly at the criminal bar, we meet, we discuss
To what?
We meet with the prosecution at the Attorney General's office. We also meet with the Chief Justice because we try to create change.
Tell me
The
tell me some
backlog-
of the results of that change.
For instance, some of the results in reference to magistrates' court would have been in terms of ankle monitor.
Okay, I apologize. We're going
No,
to take
that's
a
fine.
break. It's not a Malord moment. We're going to take a break and then we'll come back, okay? Oh, I love it.
Shine Insurance, Roman Mill Bread, Arawak Homes, Calip,
I didn't say they
Woodlawn
did. I'm
Gardens.
talking-
I'm just answering you, but this is
Well, I keep
Yeah, we
telling
on there,
you,
yeah.
CID
do
has
some
the truth
crazy.
serum because
No,
they
you're
walk
being
through the
facetious.
door.
You're being,
But
excuse
that's
me.
reality,
Yeah,
Mr.
I'm not
Fields.
dealing about the reality. I'm
They
dealing
have
about the
it.
future.
They have it.
No, they
It's in their
don't.
hands.
Because
What,
they come up with
they have it.
confessions.
This is not in the bar. We're not in the bar. They have it. They have it.
Yes, they
Listen,
do.
listen, my dear Ramona.
you better
May I
just
call
say
you that?
yes, good.
May I
Yes,
refer to you as that?
Yes, sir.
Ramona, my learned friend. I'm going to be learned today. I don't have a right to call you that because I'm not learned like her. But let me just say this to you, Ramona. I'm here pushing the envelope. Okay, this isn't about reality. What I'm saying is that we have to continue. We were here to talk about knowing your rights.
Yes,
And
sir.
how much time we have left? We have 15 minutes left, which we'll talk about that now. But what I'm saying is that the problem is, no matter how much you know your rights, it has to function in and I'm not saying, I'm just putting this out there, it has to function in a system.
Yes, it does.
Okay? You can know your rights. All you want is someone gets a pliers on your testicles and it has no bearing on your rights.
They have
Right.
to respect your rights.
Right. So, and this is
And
both
so,
sides. I
yes.
mean, this is
Of
both
course it
sides of the
is.
deal, right? So, I'm concerned about how you may not be aware of this. I'm going to send this to you. I can do a little bragging here for a second. In 1981, you're too young to remember this.
Yes.
I did, and you said yes very quickly, and I don't like that. In 1981, okay? No, because she's making me say that I'm old, you see. In 1981, I wrote a 5-part series on the judicial system of the Bahamas because I was so appalled, right? This is in 1981. Appalled that there was still handwriting, instead of
Bearing in mind,
stenographer.
There was just 5 years of independence.
No, I don't care. The stenographers have been around for 50 million years. We were writing. We didn't have stenographers. That has nothing to do with independence.
Okay.
You buy the machines from outside somewhere, and you train some stenographers.
Well, I guess you'd like to know we don't even have stenographers now.
There you go.
Magistrates' court.
They've
moved them.
So
now we're back
now,
to
now why
writing by
why
hand.
did they move them?
I believe that somebody is profiting from it. That they want to have a system now that it's recorded in some foreign country that the system will produce a transcript.
Okay, but I mean the
Somebody's
bottom line. No,
obviously
but
gonna
I
make
say-
money
see,
from that.
You're semantic. In other words, I don't know what they're doing in terms of automatically recording it. They were manually recording. So I don't care if they digital. I don't care what they. That's an advancement to me if they're recording it. The point I'm making is when I was doing this, this thing, we were not in 1981, not even properly transcribing. Okay, so all I'm saying is that we are mired with this whole decayed scenario. Okay, and it bothers me that people are subjected to this, that attorneys are subjected to this, that defendants and witnesses and juries and judges are subjected to this, and we seem to make strides in improving the courts and all that sort of things. But isn't there a long way to go, though?
Well, of course there is a long way to go. With the transcribing, the Supreme Court has it, Magistrates Court doesn't. And so unfortunately for a lot of our citizens, you have a summary matter, let's say it's threats of death.
Yeah.
You had an argument with your boyfriend or your boyfriend's new girlfriend, whatever the case may be. You're looking at essentially a year to 2 years before that's resolved. Because the magistrate has to take everything by hand.
It's absurd.
That's archaic.
Don't you find that absurd?
And so they moved the stenographers out of the court. We, at the criminal bar, we called out for the return. Nothing has been said. And they just moved them.
Do you find that absurd?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So this is what I always wanted to know about our judicial system. We have the judiciary has the most influential people in its makeup. You are educated people. I'm just putting that out there. You have political power.
Yeah, political might.
Okay, so everyone is a lawyer.
Yep.
Okay, and yet these things remain.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, a union that sweeps the parks, if they don't get what they want, they ain't sweeping the parks.
Down.
Why do y'all put up with it?
It is a sense. Okay, for instance, the magistrates.
That's a good
when
question,
when the issue occurred with removing stenographers, I honestly feel that they were supportive of the criminal bar, but there was a feeling that, look, I'm a creature of statute and I could lose my job.
No, you don't go to court. Don't go to court.
Yeah.
Why does the bar association, which just don't go? We're not coming. Get the thing, we'll come.
Then that's an issue of unity.
Well, get it together.
That's an issue of unity.
That's the point I'm making.
Yes.
It seems to me that there's
Not
no
unified
interest from learned people with tons of power
To get what they want.
to just say, we ain't coming.
Yeah.
You ain't even got to do nothing. We ain't coming. And guess what? Not only are you not coming, you can't do anything to me because you're in contempt. The system is in contempt. Justice delayed, justice denied. By this person writing down and taking how many ever years to get to this threats of harm case, that is justice denied, justice delayed, or justice delayed, whatever it is, the two
That's
Ds.
going to require
Okay?
a good number of attorneys banding
Let's
together
all show
to
up.
make it happen,
Yes.
because it can't be 5 or
No.
10 people
It-
doing
By the way,
it
it doesn't, by the way, and I'm going to go off the
won't
limb and
work.
say this, it doesn't require a lot.
I think it does.
You know what I'm saying? Let one person say they ain't doing it and the reason why, and see how they'll get people rallying behind them.
Say, "Oh, he ain't doing it. He's a fool," and they still go ahead and
Yeah, I think that highlights the point. But
unity.
Yes, it
But-
needs
but-
to be unity.
But Ramona, you understand the point I'm coming from.
I do.
But you see, here's now the other side, the flip side of that. Well, then if the thing take long, then that's more money.
Not necessarily.
No, not necessarily, but it could be, right?
No, when you look at Bahamians today and what the average person, I just came out of a divorce. I just came out of a divorce matter. There was a man. He only makes $200 and some a week. That's $800-900 a month. Bahamians are not making any money.
All right.
So it drags on long. It's I don't.
Anyway,
I don't know. It doesn't translate into more money.
I will
We do
retract
a lot
that.
of pro bono.
I will-
pro bono work. A lot.
I will retract that.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Okay, I will retract that. But you see, that's my angst
Yes.
of why I've said this to some of the most senior bar members. Why are these folks who are so influential
Yeah.
with a institution
Politics.
that is so
Yeah.
primary,
That's
what it is.
that is
Yeah.
one of the primary pillars.
If my party is in power, I have to tread lightly because maybe I'm getting certain favors, certain things
it's
coming
true.
my
You
way.
can
Yeah, but
And
I mean, but what
am
kind of
not
favors you getting as a lawyer?
Yeah, but I'm not going to go against the decision of my party if they're in. And so that it's so politicized.
Tic Tac?
No, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. I just try to bring it down. But you understand what I'm saying.
Yes,
I
I
try to
do.
lighten things
I
up,
do.
but I feel that there are certain institutions
We can do more.
that are critical to a democracy, to a system of justice being levied, and that the people who have the power to do it are essentially falling short. That's a point of view that I have.
We have 10 minutes. We should get into.
Yeah,
No, you're
well,
right.
we ain't gonna get to that. You can come back. You come. No, she's coming back.
Second time.
Yeah, no, it'll be. Do you have a problem coming back, Ramona?
No, I don't.
No, you don't.
That's great exposure.
Yeah, man. Because let me tell you, they coming to you. Okay, they coming to you, girl. What are you seeing? So you are exposed. You do murder trials.
Yes, I do.
Okay, so let's talk about this. Will take us to the next 10 minutes. I can guarantee you. And I know where you're coming from. I know where you're coming from already, Ramones.
Okay.
Okay.
Get a nickname.
Okay. All right. What is the deal with murder people on bail?
This is the street justice thing that you're talking about?
No. I deal with bail. How come
Bail?
people who are charged with murder?
Oh, that's not so. No, and let me address
Yeah,
that
clear
now
that up.
because that's a fallacy.
Clear that up.
Right now, if you're charged with murder, you have to wait generally a minimum of 3 years before you can be eligible for bail, unless your attorney can prove that the evidence against you is weak. It doesn't support the charge. And that's very hard to do.
Okay.
And so that is not a true statement that, oh, you're charged with murder and the next day you're out on bail. That is so untrue.
Okay.
That's
So
not
let me side with you, if you mind. If you don't mind, I would like to side with you. First of all,
I think it's dangerous when you side with me.
you don't
Go
sound
on.
dangerous. It's always I'm flexible.
Go
I'm
ahead.
flexible that way.
Okay.
Two things. One, that, well, actually one thing. It goes back to this thing again. Obviously, there are people, because we hear it in the news every day. I get the crime report every day about people who are killed or people who kill. It's both sides of the sphere.
Yes.
Who are out on bail. Now
For
that means,
what?
hold on, for murder. And hold on, let me finish. That means, and to your point, don't frown. Let me tell you, but I can be on your side. That means, to your point, that it's taken more than 3 years to get to the court. So the question is, what are we doing? How is it that we have because it is unfair to be languishing in jail for
Because you're
eternity.
innocent until proven guilty.
Right.
Yes.
But there should be a public safety issue that if you are charged, you are held until. But it should be a relatively
Well, it's a
short
balancing
period
act.
of time.
That judge has to use his or her discretion because right now, because of the backlog, you appear before a judge. Realistically, let's say if you're charged today, 2016. You're getting a date in 2019.
Yeah, see,
My diary
that's
is filled
absurd.
for 18 and 19. Now we try to squeeze you in, like we said, for backup dates in case something falls through. You can be versatile. But really and truly, so already you're sitting in prison for 2.5 years.
Let me ask you
And
something.
prison is rough.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
something that you people
Oh, yeah,
don't
yeah.
deal with.
No.
Fox Hill Prison
Oh, hey.
is a hell.
Hey. I know about that.
Okay? They're
I ain't
sleeping
going
on
there.
concrete, and it's so marginalized right now. Prison is so different than it was 5 years ago. It's now dissected into gangs. You have this fire and theft gang, badass gang, and then you have another gang.
Gun dogs?
It's 3 major gangs. And so let's say you're there, you have no part of this, but because you're held,
gang.
let's say in the West.
Yeah.
So therefore, you go out to exercise. You could be attacked just because you're held in the. You have nothing to do with it. You have 6 to 8 young men in a small, tiny cell with a
One bucket. Oh,
Plastic bags are a commodity. That's what they use to defecate and urinate in.
Ziploc.
Come on, this is disgusting.
No, it is.
And you
it
want to
is-
talk
it's-
about persons being there for
listen,
2-3 years?
Listen to me.
Oh God,
Listen to
it's
me.
terrible.
You
For
got that
somebody
out?
who's
You got that out your system?
presumed
Hold on a second. You got that out your system?
Yes, sir.
You good?
She
Okay.
sees it. So
No,
she
listen.
you know?
I am saying this to her because I am saying that I am aware. We talk about this all the time. It's inhumane.
I can smell it. now.
Okay, it's inhumane. I cannot go there. No, sir. Now, what I'm saying to you is, having said that,
Yes.
can we not? You see, I'm going to digress. I'm going to minimize something for a second. I look at our schools, okay,
Yes.
and I see schools where they're not grass fields, and I say these are things we're subjecting our children to. Just something like that.
Right.
That we don't have the concern that we can't have a nice grass field for a child to play on in some of our schools. Not all, some of them. Take that to exponential infinity, and we have human beings that we put in a jail,
Yes.
and we subject them to that. So there's a couple of things you can do. Very easy. Either you improve the jails, and that's a
And they say they
financial
don't have
thing,
any money.
or you speed up the system.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So people don't have to language.
Now, actually, it needs to be both, because even if someone's convicted, they shouldn't be in that.
Right.
Okay? But the reality is, certainly someone who's innocent
Yes.
shouldn't be in that.
And you know what happens as well, Mr. Fields? They come out and they become
look,
criminals.
you and I are in the same
they,
way.
They are criminalized because if you're kept as an animal
In a cage.
for 2-3 years, sometimes if you go in the West Wing where they keep a lot of persons on remand for armed robbery and murder, there's no light. There's no ventilation. So they have a fan set up, 2 fans set up in the hallway to service 6 cells.
Can you imagine what they're feeling right now in this heat?
And these, exactly, and they come out maybe
Mean.
1 hour a day, maybe that. And the slop that they're fed.
Okay.
The big,
wanna hear that.
Yeah,
the
she going
big
deep
pot, you know, and they scoop it with some
Zal or something.
And, oh goodness, it's disgusting. You keep our young men like that for 2.5-3 years.
breeding a criminal.
How do you expect
They,
him to
they
come
had.
out?
I saw a
How is he
movie.
going to function?
I saw a movie last night during the Nazi war, that people in Russia were kept in such conditions that they start eating themselves, and they literally got addicted. Some of these people got addicted to eating humans. They became. This is what you do to human beings. But I'm saying to you, and I'm looking at you because you're passionate, and I see the passion. You got your face screwed up a little bit from the passion and all. Okay? I think it's just from record. You think about that smell.
It's when people talk about, we're giving them bail.
Yeah.
and-
No.
I mean, if your child
It's
is
in
held
there.
in there, and then too, that's degradation as well. To have to toe that line in the hot sun,
Yeah.
Monday, Wednesday, and
carry
Friday
food or
to
to see
carry
them.
food and how they treat them, to get on the bus, to go and see their loved ones. This is just atrocious.
You good?
Yes.
Okay. I like this woman now. Now, let me just say this to you, Ramona. Okay? This goes again to the point. And maybe it's because it's only 30 of you. So that the other ones who are sitting in their offices are not feeling this sort of
See what they do.
anger and anguish and passion. Okay? That enough is enough. And last night I draw a reference to Barack Obama, who said that democracy is not a spectator sport.
Yes.
Okay? And the reality is we have allowed things to happen. Someone like you obviously is showing passion and obviously trying to get something done. But there are tons of people who are working in the system, whether they be prison officers, because they're subjected to it.
Yes.
Yes.
They're
And their
all,
u-
you know
their
what?
unions
They're
speak
all
out about-
prisoners
Yes.
of that
And
system.
their unions speak out against
Okay.
it. Mr. Archer, Gregory Archer, they
do.
speak out against it. They try to strike because it's just disgusting.
See,
the odor alone.
And again, sometimes you have to start thinking about your fellow man. You know what I'd like to see? I'm going to say it. I'd like to see where, when you complain, as much as you as you would lobby to get more uniforms, lobby for the conditions of these men. Don't show up. We got to stop showing. See, you know what the problem is? Now I'm going to go off. We have to stop showing up for the wrong things. Okay? We're showing up for we don't have TV in the mess, but we're not.
Them set out there because it seems like she's interested.
But
in
Mr.
you know what I'm
Fields, you
saying?
know what
Yeah.
it is? And it's on a bigger scale. We just need to have leaders who are coming into our parliament with vision to change our society.
I'm stopping you.
We've been doing
I'm
things.
stopping you. I'm stopping you for a second.
Yes.
That's our problem.
Yes.
No. That's our problem. We're waiting for the Messiah. It's up to us. That's the problem. Okay? We could be waiting for the next millennia for that person or those
No,
people.
I don't
Yeah,
think
yeah,
so.
well, we're waiting long now. So the point I'm saying to you is, okay, it is
It
up
ain't
to
long
listen,
now.
listen to me. Listen to me. I don't go into the slogans. Listen to me, Ramona Farquharson Seymour. Okay?
Farquharson's fine.
No, I like the thing. I like to do it in two names. It is up to us. This is not. We are not showing up.
But
Ramona,
we have to be in a position to bring
we
about
gotta
that
go now.
change.
Ramona, when you coming back?
Whenever I'm invited.
Okay. Well, we're gonna look at the schedule, and there can be no backup. There's some substantive.
Substantive
Yeah,
time.
I like you. I can tell you that now. Ramona Farquharson Seymour, it's been wonderful. We didn't even get to
pleasure.
talk to
Thank
what we were talking about, but this is the whole point about conversation, okay? Because you know what? And I'm sorry, Osprey, more people learn today about just one thing: the condition of the jail in detail than they probably would have heard for many, many times. So I thank you for coming, and we'll have you back on many occasions. Is that okay?
That's fine. Thank
All
you,
right.
sir.
Thank you very much.
Okay.